Councillors, can I welcome everyone here in the chamber and those watching online to this November council meeting? Have we got any apologies?
Yes, I've got apologies from Councillor Chamberlain, Councillor Clamp, Councillor Howarth and Councillor Lord. And
With Councillor Lord, yes. Well, we'll accept those apologies. Declaration of interest. Is there any declaration of interest on any item on the agenda today? No? Thank you. We'll move on to the minutes of the last meeting. You've got them in front of you. Is there any comments or amendments? Yes, Councillor Coburn-Price.
Just got one, because item 20, which was the municipal hall, I think we're trying to get a meeting, but it's not mentioned in the progress report. So any progress?
We did have a meeting, but there's no progress.
Oh, that was a short meeting.
Well, it was sorry, Councillor Robinson.
Thank you, Chair. Last meeting was mentioned about street signs in Colne. Out of interest, the original street signs were white with a green border and a green letters. When they decided...
Is this the minutes of the last meeting?
Yes. Yeah, because it's mentioned in there. Yeah.
Right.
Well, a lot of people don't realise when they converted, when they changed them all over, they missed one street sign that still exists in Colne, its original location, its original colours. And I'm wondering if it's possible to protect this.
We know where that one is, and we are saving it and ignoring it, and we are going to repaint it in those green colours.
Thank you.
Absolutely.
Excellent.
You're reassured. So back to the moon.
Yes. So the problem was that the figures we were given, other people said they weren't correct, so they've gone back to look at some figures that might be correct. Better.
More correct. Right. Okay then.
Yeah. That was the crux of the matter, anyway.
All right. Thank you. I'll move the minutes then.
Right. And a seconder, please. Thank you, Councillor Hannah Wood. All those in favour? Thank you. The next item is Clerk's report, so I'll hand over to Gina.
yeah, so there's not that much to update on really. There's still a lot of ongoing stuff that we haven't really progressed in the last month. The phone boxes. I'm unblocking of the recesses on the first floor. We are currently getting a quote to put glazing in because they said we couldn't take them out completely. This was mainly due to smoke separation. So we have asked the question if it's just a case of smoke separation, then are we okay to put glazing in? So we have actually got someone to quote for that and to give us a price to how much that would be. So that's still ongoing, but
we will have to apply for listed building consent.
Right. Yes.
Any other?
Yeah, the phone boxes I had. I'd sent an email to LCC basically asking them if they had any plans for them because they own the land that they're on. They have to give permission for anyone to adopt them. So I did say that we've been discussing doing something with them, alternative uses, and asked them if they had any plans for them. And the email I got back was just, you would have to apply for planning permission, which I did know anyway, obviously, but I was wanting to see if they had any plans for them. So I will send another email. And
I'm a little bit mystified by this. These are grade 2 listed structures and we have no liability for them. But if we took ownership of them, We would have liability for them. And it would be a cost. Do I sound really mean? They're protected. They are protected. So it's not like occasionally I say to you, we need to take ownership of it because it's under threat. It's not that. I feel that they are protected and we're not paying for them. So unless we have the most burningly brilliant idea, which we've never seemed to have in all the years of discussions, we've never seemed to have it, have we? Nobody said, I don't know, let's just do something amazing. We've kicked loads of ideas around, and I just don't understand why we're progressing it again.
Was this because one of the councillors asked you to look further into it?
Yes, it was to investigate it, which is what I was doing basically.
Yeah, I mean, you're
But-
quite right. If we haven't got anything specific, something completely, that wouldn't take us in, cost us a lot of money or have difficulties, I don't know why it's on the, why we need to talk about it. Councillor Hannah Wood.
Yes, Chair. Are these phone boxes in any form of danger to the public?
No, I to be honest, I completely agree. I don't think it's an effective use of taxpayers' money, in my opinion. But
Councillor Mann.
I think this was an item that was brought by Councillor Lord, and as she's not here tonight, I think we should continue to investigate that matter, or at least have a discussion about it when she is here.
Well, we can inform her of the discussion we've had just now and say, what does she want to do about it? Councillor Thomas.
Chair, we've got end of story. The county council may or may not have plans for them, which is beyond our. Well, maybe Councillor Sutcliffe has got plans to interior decorate them, but really there is nothing we can do with it. We're just going round in circles. Because that's what you'll get. I mean, as far as the county council is concerned, it's two little phone boxes. It is Albert Road. Sorry, I was wondering whether in Albert Road in Colne, which is lots of distance and miles away from Preston. But as Councillor Sarah Coburn Price said, they're listed, so they're protected that way, unless somebody gives them to us or gives lots of money to us to do them up. Fine. I think the problem is in smaller villages, you get one where the village sort of take it over and turn it into a book swap place or something else. I think there's one at Bolton Abbey that's got something in, but they're not coming to any harm. We're better to just leave them there and worry about it if bits start falling off or they fall on somebody.
Thank you. I remember Councillor Moffat was worried that if you put plants in them, they'd all get wet and the structure would rust. Someone said that anyway. It wasn't you, was it not? No, sorry. Sorry.
I think they would, because obviously you have to water the flowers, don't you? If you've got flowers in there, so yeah.
Councillor Wildman.
I went to Haworth this week. They have a telephone box. Put one telephone boxes with it's a bookstore, whatever, and it's a library, and they all seem to be libraries. And if it's not that, I don't see what much more you can do with one. And I also feel if they are Grade 2 listed and they need repair, they're in a poor condition as far as I'm concerned. I think we should maybe contact whoever's responsible to ask them to try to upgrade them and recondition them.
Yeah, there's a lot of good users for them, defibrillators. It's all good news. However, if you put a bookstore in the middle of Colne, I guarantee those books will be on the main road in the first Saturday night. So, you know, a defibrillator would fit in there with your code on it. That would be fine. But books or plants or anything like that, it just needs somebody to have to look after them. And at this moment in time, we don't need anybody looking after them. We don't need to spend any money. So they're not going anywhere. They're in good order at the minute. So like somebody just said, I would leave them as they are. Or you're taking on another asset that you don't need and you don't need to pay for. Thank you.
Councillor Wildman made a proposal. Was that a proposal about asking somebody to the county hall sort of get them into better shape?
County Hall, it's BT. They've got a little number. I've given it to Gina. If you call the number, they'll come out within 10 working days and clean it from top to bottom. But they'll only paint them once every 5 years. That's fine.
And should we do that then? Contact BT. Is that a proposal from you, Councillor Wildman? When you've had
I think it's a good idea, because I think we're in a poor state of repair. It's not just painting them.
Is there anybody to second that proposal?
I think we need to assess them.
Yeah. Right. All those in favour of speaking to brief thanks. Is that everything, Gina?
Just the planning application for number 2. We have now got a response from Growth Lancashire, so Pendle can now actually complete the report, and it will be, I think, going to the next area committee. The report has brought up some things that I do want to double check, and we may need to amend because they said there wasn't sufficient information in there because we didn't actually specify that the sash windows were sliding sash and not fake slash windows. So we may have to just tweak the wording just so that it clarifies that.
Is that
the speed devices now are on Castle Road, Langroyd Road and Skipton Road in Trawden. They'll be there for about 8 weeks, and then obviously we'll bring them in and then retrieve the data from the devices and obviously see where we get with that. And I just put a note on the bottom about the Neighbourhood Plan Advisory Committee. Just so the reason why we haven't had a meeting is because we're waiting for the publication of the new NPPF. So as soon as we get that, which is expected to be December, we will arrange a meeting.
Councillor Mann?
On the SPIDs, we obviously gave data to the police for the previous locations. Have we had any report back from the police? And if so, do we know what it was?
They did organise an operation, I think, on Shore Street.
Mm-hmm.
They were doing something there. Other than that, I don't think the other areas, I don't think they'd said anything about, but I know they did something on Shore Street.
Given the massive scepticism of Councillor Robinson on this, I think we should continue to hold their feet to the fire and possibly send the Cone Community Safety Partnership like a formal letter or an email to say, now you've got the first lot of data, we require feedback from your operation, and we wish to inform you that they're currently here and we're looking forward to hearing about the operation. I think we should continue to push for that.
Is that a proposal? Thank you, Kathleen. Councillor Hannah Woods. All those in favour then? Thank you. Okay, right. Item 6 is public forum, but we don't seem to have any public here, so we'll move on to item 7, which is reports from the Borough Council. And I don't know whether anyone's got an LCC report. No. So it's things that are happening in Pendle, Borough Council, that affect Colne.
Okay. Now, we wrote down a big list and left it at home. So now we've had to sort of we'll remember some of it. So just rushing through very, very briefly on each topic. So King George V playing field, which I've mentioned before. Remember, I fell down the bank. We are getting a quote forward to put steps in, to put ramps in, and to restore the pitch on the top. So that will be very interesting. And I've had an email from Colne FC who'd be interested in taking over the maintenance of the pitch if they could use it for training nights. So watch this space. Well, go on.
Jump in 1 second. So, yeah, Colne FC have approached me as well and saying that they would really, really like it, you know, in any way, shape or form. It's just another pitch they can use because underneath the radar, they're doing really well at the moment. And they're getting lots of women's teams, girls' teams in. So they need an extra pitch. That'd be really, really good. Thank you.
So that's hopeful, and also won't cost Pendle any more money, which is ideal. So the next thing is the Keighley Road Conservation Area. They're calling it the Keighley Road Conservation Area, which I have to say irks me rather, because I went into the library and the first villa on Keighley Road, that bit of Keighley Road, was the park. So I wanted the park to be in it, plus they gave their gardens, and Spivey designed the school, Park Primary, plus Headmaster's House. So I wanted the park, Park Primary, Headmaster's House, plus the Drovers route, which was, you know, where all the money came for the market, of Carry Lane, which has the bridge, the listed house, and the special stones that are in our non-designated heritage asset. I sent a load of information from Christine Bradley to the chap from Growth Lancashire who's writing it to explain my reasoning, explaining that the park was the very first house and it made sense. And he didn't reply. Go on. No, put your thing on.
And lo and behold, he just went with the road and not the extra bits. We had agreed, what we wanted to do was to say, here's your basic plan, and the option is to include a little lump there and a little lump there to fit in. So, you know, conservation area with a slightly wonky boundary. But they've ignored it.
So we've paid them thousands and thousands of pounds. We've waited 2 years. I get sent him all this information within 24 hours of the draft. He did not reply. When we queried it with Neil Watson, he just said he didn't agree. So he didn't reply. The thing is, he didn't reply. It really makes me furious. And I'm cross about it. And I don't know what we're going to do about it.
We've now said that they should amend it and make it an option, and we will seek feedback from the public with a quick consultation for a 4 to 6 week period. They're preparing a web page. They're preparing they're going to write to all the addresses nearby, etc. And therefore, that's what we should see happening soon.
We've had the letter.
We've had, yeah.
All right.
There we go.
And
Sorry,
Barnfield Close have had the letter down.
Oh, the thing is absolutely bonkers, Chair, because Peterborough was but as far as we know, nothing on the main Peter Birtwistle office, and Peter Birtwistle have not had a letter. The trust haven't. Whether the residents in the block have, don't know, because I only found this out last night. And they can't spell Keighley. Because it says re-proposal to designate Keighley without spell L-Y.
My typos and spelling thing went to 2 sides on their draft. Honestly,
Yeah.
you know, when you pay this much money for something, it's really, really annoying that it's not done properly. Sorry, right. So carrying on. Empty homes. I think we probably mentioned last time that we mentioned that there were some empty homes, and David did some analysis into it and asked Pendle Council for the definitive list. And they said, "Oh, we don't have a list. We have who pays council tax or doesn't pay council tax, and we have some empty homes. We'll put them together." So they sent the list to Colne area, and it didn't have 24 Ruskin Avenue on it. So as far as I'm concerned, It's not a list of empty houses. It didn't have 28 West Street on it and all the ones that I've been reporting. So we've driven about, and I think that really, I hope that you agree with me, that we've looked at different categories. So there are empty houses that are empty, but they're tidy. We observe them. We'd like somebody to live in them. There's nothing wrong with them. They're not a blight on the street. There are occupied houses that have broken windows that are horrific. They are a blight on the street and people live in them. That's a worry. It's a human worry as well as it's a blight on the street. There are empty houses that are boarded up, that are partially burnt, that are a blight on the street that nobody lives in. And there are empty houses that literally somebody's moved out, somebody's doing them up, they're going. We don't need to worry about them, but we need to note them. The reason that I was really so keen to do this, actually the scales fell from my eyes last night, because previously, if you put people into empty houses, it came off your housing target. So I was thinking, right, we get rid of the blight in specifically Waterside, but also some in Vivery. We get rid of the blight, but also every time we put somebody in that house, it comes off our housing target, helps the neighbourhood plan, helps Pendle Borough Council. However, the government's changed the rules, and now filling an empty house doesn't come off your housing target. Sorry? Yeah, I didn't realise. So we're taking Philip Spur round to see the blighted houses, both the occupied ones and the unoccupied ones, because I feel that if we were as a council to focus on these and perhaps compulsory purchase them or whatever, like they do in Nelson, then we would lift the area. So that's that. Street signs, I've found while looking at the empty houses a load more street signs. So we're now well into the 50s. David sent the latest spreadsheet to Gina. We're paying for a barrier at Holt House to stop people going onto Holt House when they shouldn't. We've asked the developer, Mr. Hilton of Bunkers Hill, to come and meet Cone Area to try to do something joined up.
Bigger scheme.
So we deferred that one that came to our last meeting. The market is at the shell stage and moving on. And I've got a meeting on the 6th of December to discuss development behind the market with Philip Spur. Public art, if you remember, we were hoping to bring back the World Championships of Nur and Spell, sort the balls, find a point illuminated from beneath for the stained glass window that this council commissioned in the year 2000 and all of that. That will be a cocktail of bids. We had a meeting yesterday with the artists, and they're putting in bids to the Arts Council and to the Heritage Lottery Fund, and hopefully those bids will be put in January. We'll do our very best. We might not get them, but if we do, wouldn't it be brilliant?
And in terms of planning applications from last time, every single one of them has not come to Cone Area yet, apart from the one that we wanted at the top of the number 4, which was Varley Street, the one where we said in principle we're okay, but the choice of materials. I had 6 emails back and forth with the officer saying, please could you ask them to consider this is out of keeping with the street, etc. The response came basically that there were plenty of other houses in the street that had a mixture of materials that weren't quite original, and therefore they couldn't enforce on that, and therefore couldn't turn it down for that. They asked the applicant twice, could you please consider being sensitive with your choice of materials, and they said no. And there's nothing we can do. So
Is there any questions
grudging approval
about that? I know I've had an email with a couple of attachments about the market from somebody. Nelson.
Richard Savory.
No.
This is one from Lynn with the
Lynn.
operating agreement.
Yeah. But I couldn't open one of them.
Yeah, you need the password.
Did it say anything that I don't know?
I don't know, I haven't opened it yet. It only appeared this afternoon.
Right, yes. Yeah.
Password's in the next email.
So, right, can we move on to item 8 then? So we've got paper 8A, which is the expenditure for the month. Is there any questions on that? Yes.
I've just got one question on it. Obviously, I understand that our gas bill is sort of £1,500-ish. I was amazed our electricity bill was nearly £2,000 for September.
These are now, well, as of June, the end of June, the prices went up 50%.
But
I
wow,
had, we did the exercise of
yeah,
going through brokers and getting different prices. Obviously, because previously we fixed at the right time.
Yeah.
We had a pretty good deal up until obviously June, and then I did know that they were going to go up, but I'd only estimated 25% in the actual budget, but it was over 50%. Zero. Yeah, so that
electricity is just lights and computers and whatever.
yes.
Isn't it? We've not got a massive server running away and.
Well, we have servers, obviously, they're
Right.
on all the time.
Okay.
But
all right, well, that's the new norm. So yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, other than that, I'll move.
Yeah. A minute, David. Any other questions on this expenditure? No. Right. Right. So, David, can I have a seconder? I'll take Ian, Councillor Robinson. All those in favour? Thank you. The second one is paper 8B, the budget. Is there any questions on that? Councillor Coburn-Price.
One question on this one. Looking at again at percentage spend and percentage of the overall budget, I focused on the more material items. Just a question on CCTV, really, because obviously that's at sort of 94% of budget. I know we've paid a large amount over to the Blackburn monitoring people. Are we okay with that spend for the rest of the year?
Yeah, obviously we have put the project in for Elkin Coats Park. They will be installing those next week. So that's in there. Basically, obviously, we just had enough for the monitoring and the maintenance, but that's for the whole year. So so that is. So we're not expecting really to any more expenditure this year, so it should be okay.
Okay. Right, that's all. I'll move 8B then as well.
Right. Can I have a seconder? Councillor Hannah Wood. All those in favour? Thank you. Right. Item 9 is staff appraisal. That's Gina.
Yeah, so this is just basically to tell you that all the appraisals have been completed, and proposals went through to FES at the last meeting. We are having some slight changes in that the lensmen, we decided that they need a bit more structure and a bit more control. So what we've done is actually promoted Mark to be senior lensman, and he will now schedule all the jobs the week before. They'll sit down, go through the sheets, and decide who's doing what, so everyone knows who's doing what, where they are. All officers get a copy so that we know where. Obviously, if we're wondering where they are or whatever, or we need to call them off, we know where they should be. So that should work a bit better. Mark will also be in charge of making sure that any equipment's signed out, signed back in, and the appropriate checks are done before use and when they bring it back as well. And then we have levelled off the senior officers. So the deputy clerk is now on the same level as the finance officer. And we have also levelled off sort of the managerial levels. So that's Leah, contracts officer, and media and communication. So they are now on the same level as well. Billy was on the real living wage, but her role, originally she was employed as cleaner. Her role has evolved and developed. She's no longer just a cleaner, so we are changing her job title to caretaker, because she does, and she has been doing that for quite a few months now. So we decided that the real living wage wasn't really appropriate anymore. So we have actually put her on a scale, same as the other officers are all on scales. So she will get an increase, and it will be backdated as of April. So like the local government pay award that goes through, usually in November, because they can't decide what they're doing, and then it's backdated to the previous April. I'm trying to think if there's anything else that needs to go in there.
Well, can I ask that now she's on a proper scale, she would be in, she will have it's a pensionable. Will she?
She is in the
pension
anyway,
scheme.
Yeah.
Everybody
she
has
is.
to have a pension.
Yeah, everyone's auto enrolled in that
Yeah.
anyway. So over a certain age.
Any more questions for Gina? No? Okay. Thank you. Can we move on to item 10 then, the free swimming initiative?
Yes, this is just to see if we're willing to support this for the next financial year.
Councillor Thomas.
What on the letter I assume it was a letter from the Leisure Trust.
It was, but it didn't come on letterheaded paper. It just basically came as an email like that.
What was they're saying that it will be 7,100. What was it this year?
It's a 5% increase.
It is a 5% increase, yeah, from last year.
5%.
It's a 5% increase from last year. I did, when I was originally working on the budget, I did ask the question, and he said, I would put 5%, it won't be any more than that, I don't think. So it is 5%.
I think, Chair, we should do it. I know there is, there are problems if Foulridge, Laneshire and Trawden don't do it, but I don't see why we shouldn't do it for the schools that are listed there. If there are children from Trawden that go to Park School or Christchurch, well, the numbers will be small numbers. So I think the fact that they probably don't qualify for one is neither here nor there. So as long as school attended, that the school is within our boundaries, that's fine.
Councillor Sarah Coburn-Price.
They do qualify. They just need to bring proof of their address. I think it's a lot of money. I'm really pro swimming, and I think that children should be swimming. But I say this every year. Trawden pay for the number of sessions used, and they pay a fraction of what Pendle Leisure Trust assess them at. It's a fraction. And I know that you asked in previous years, and Pendle Leisure Trust said no. But you do have to say, if they allow Trawden to pay for the number of sessions used, why won't they allow Cone?
I think that actually deduce that if we paid per session, it would actually cost us more.
Well, it's a lot less for Trawden.
Do you want us to?
Chair, Trawden is one school. We've got half a dozen schools. Yeah, half a dozen schools. So I think it's more complex, or would be more complex for us or for the Leisure Trust to do. We'll then be putting cost on them, and so in the end, and you know, £7,000 out of the budget is not a lot, and it is important that children are taught to swim.
I think a lot more people are using it now than they did before as well. I think it's.
Councillor Anna Wood.
Thank you, Chair. I'm in favour of this because, as Councillor Sarah Gordon-Brass has already said, swimming is a vital component of a child's health. I know it's 7,000, but it's only 5% increase on what we paid last year, and the children do get the benefit from it, and the schools get the benefit from it. So I'm definitely in favour of this, and I will. If Councillor Howard is proposing, I will second it.
Councillor Butterworth.
It's without doubt one of the most important things that children can learn. We have a lot of rivers around here, canals, things like that. All children must learn to swim. And for £7,000, I agree. I'll second it, third it, fourth it, all day long. Children must learn to swim. It's the part of our future. Thank you.
We've had a proposal, we've had a seconder, so all those in favour of accepting this, thank you. And it's Sarah, if you find out, ask them, I don't know how they do it at Troden, but if there's something glaring, you'll have to bring it back. Okay. Item 11 is Love to Ride Lancashire.
Yeah, so this was just something that came through on email. So I thought I would put it on the agenda to discuss it.
I think we should really promote this. We've got a vain son, and he puts his running times on, I don't know, an app. And all of his friends can see his times, and then they do times, and they all compete against each other. And this is very much the same sort of thing. People are very, very interested in this kind of thing. You know, sort of proving that they've done it or whatever. So I think that it probably is very interesting to a certain demographic, and we really should try our very best to promote it for LCC.
Any other questions, comments? Yes, Councillor Moffat.
The thing I like about this is that you can suit yourself, whether you're old, whether you're young, whether you go out as a group, individually, and you log your rides, how you feel. And that's what I like. And anything that encourages people to go out cycling, I think we should support.
Thank you.
I was just wondering if we could put this like this on the notice board or town hall, or perhaps on the town hall website, just to draw attention to it.
Yeah. If we're all in favour, then obviously we can put things on social media, on the website, etc. So yeah.
And if you've got some bigger ones, we'll put those in the things. Councillor Robinson.
Thank you, Chair. There's been quite a lot on cycling, etc. Over the summer and that. I can't remember. I think it was called the Big Bike Revival or something. And quite a few areas were doing that, where they would meet once a month on a Saturday for so many hours going out on a bike ride. That was very, very popular. The one thing on this one, but I may be wrong on this, but it looks like in order to sort of become a part of this, you need a smartphone, etc. That could put some people off, especially if they don't want a smartphone. They're just using just a basic mobile. And that, so I think we should also be looking at promoting cycling without having to revert to modern technology.
I think that's two different things, isn't it? Councillor Hannah Wood.
We host one of the greatest cycling events in the country, and if we don't support this, I think we're biting our nose off our face. We should be supporting this, you know, because as I say, we host one of the greatest cycling races ever, and yet turn our nose up at this. No, we need to support this.
Thank you. So we're all in favour of it, are we? Yeah. Show your hands. And-
Did we get a proposal in a second then?
I'll propose that first.
Second, Howard. And Councillor Robinson, the general cycling. I mean, I'm sure we do as a town promote that. Okay. But if you've any ideas how it could be done better, just let us know. Okay. Item 12. It's a consultation paper. It's about enabling remote attendance and proxy voting at local authority meetings. What do you want to say about that, Councillor Thomas?
I think yes, we should welcome. I'm in favour of this. Somewhere I would take Councillor Health as an example tonight. She's physically not able, she probably wouldn't be up to attending by remote. But in a case like that, it's physically not, she could attend by Zoom or whatever. That's fine. I was just looking through the stuff there. I'm not in favour of us just willy-nilly going back to meetings on Zoom, unless there are really extreme circumstances. I know we were promised lots of snow and everything overnight, but we actually got sort of half an inch of nothing. But as they say, totally unforeseen circumstances, there is an argument, but I think that would need to be a very extreme one. And, we mustn't forget that there are already means by which people can be guaranteed, I'm not sure which leave of absence or what the right phrase is, so that they don't fall foul of the 6-month rule. I'm not in favour of proxy voting, because I think that is just at the minute a step too far. But I think that on the grounds that genuine illness and inability to attend a meeting, provided the meeting still went ahead for the rest of the people and limited it to like suddenly 17, 15 councillors suddenly had some affliction. So I'm watching the World Cup final. So I think with that, I think we can say it's a bit clunky, is the thing on the website. It's not easy to reply to it. I think that's fine. Those very small circumstances restricted.
Anybody else got anything to say?
I think previously it's because people could attend remotely, but they weren't able to vote. So I think this is kind of bringing in that they can actually vote if they're attending remotely.
Yeah.
And obviously, if we have another pandemic, then we will probably welcome it.
Councillor Butterworth.
I just was a couple of questions. How many people need to be quorate in this room for the meeting to go ahead?
It's a third of the council.
Six.
Six.
Okay. I agree with Councillor Thomas. I'd love nothing better than to be at home in front of my fire on television. But I think a meeting like this, we can interact better, we can talk better, we can disagree better. So I am in favour in meeting certain needs. I've had to come in with my boot on, well, I really didn't want to, but I made the effort. And I think it'd be like you said, it'd be a slippery road where people go, well, it's a bit cold outside. You know that, and rest for proxy voting. No, I don't like that idea because you can be coerced into giving me your vote for something. You can be coerced, and here you vote and people can see you voting, and it works better. But you know, if illness or something like that appears, then that's fine. Thank you very much.
I've got Councillor Robinson and then Councillor Bell.
Thank you, Chair. I don't like this at all on this remote attendance. Simple reason is it's just straight around saying if you want to be a councillor, you've got to have facilities, you've got to have this, you've no choice. Yeah, and I'm sure I think Councillor Howarth doesn't have these facilities. I don't. So will we then be, even though we are elected members, are we going to be excluded from meetings if this carriage goes forward, stuff like this? Meeting in person is vital. And also, I don't know if, do we have substitution rules within the town council? Because I know I don't know about anymore, but in the old days, if you couldn't turn up at a meeting, then you could elect a member of you know, you could ask a member of your party to act as a substitute. You could then turn up at the meeting and actually vote for you. You know, so I don't think the old saying, if it ain't broken, don't fix it. At the moment, the system is not broken, so why try to fix it? I said it's going to exclude a lot of people from meetings. As you said, it's going to promote laziness as well. Well, it's a bit cold outside. I can't be bothered. Put it on later. I'll stay at home. You know, so I'm totally opposed to this.
Councillor Bell.
I'm actually in disagreement with Councillor Robinson, actually. The reason being is if you've got a valid reason where you cannot make it, be it you live outside the area, you can't get out transport, okay, you've got inclement weather where you don't want to risk going outside, having an accident, you cannot physically get in, because there will be reasons. But I'm not saying take away meeting here and do it all online, but make the attempt to turn up to a meeting. But the option is there. If you cannot physically get here, you've got the option to be able to attend the meeting via online while this is in progress. But while you're online, instead of having, like you say, having a proxy vote where somebody votes for you, is if you're in the meeting, even on the online side, you've got the vote there. Because there might be something that you're passionate about. If you can't make it, you can't make your voice heard. But I'm not saying it's got to be a proxy where somebody takes your vote for you, but still have that meeting here. But the option of, if you cannot physically get here, i.e. you're in hospital, and you can get access to online, you can still attend a meeting, you can make your views known, you can communicate, but at least then you still react on behalf of your constituents. So I actually think it could be a good tool, as long as it's not, like you said, Councillor Butler has said, it's not abused.
Councillor Clegg. Councillor David Clegg.
Thank you, Chairman. I think if it's used reasonably and sensibly, it can be a good thing. And going back to Councillor Robinson's point, I don't think this is going to penalise anyone at all, because the idea of this, and Nalk's idea of it, isn't that you would totally make the meeting online and do away with having one of the meetings in the town hall, in the council chamber. It's just purely making the meeting sort of an hybrid where you could either come here or, depending on what the circumstances were, in an emergency or whatever, you could do it from home or wherever you were. And I think there is some advantages to that. There are some disadvantages, I will agree, especially if we don't use it sensibly. But the one thing where it does help, if it had snowed a foot deep and half of people hadn't been able to come tonight, they would have been able to, some of us have been able to get here, so we'd have had the meeting held in here, but others would be able to join us and vote from home. And things like that can happen. You never know what's going to happen, do you?
No,
I mean, for instance, Sarah and David could have got it caught tonight, cars broken down, they can't get here, they could have logged on at home. And I think that is an advantage.
but there is definitely a disadvantage if it isn't used properly and
Yeah.
it's abused. And I'm not in favour of the proxy vote either.
No. Councillor Butterworth.
So there is a little bit of a way around it, as in when people send their apologies in for not being here, you could also send your apologies in and then request a remote voting system or whatever, or to go online. If you got an unreasonable excuse other than it's cold outside,
Yeah.
you could apologise for not attending, but request you attend online. That way, you'll have a list. You'll have a note of who's not coming and who's dipping. And nice sunny day, and I can't get out because it's snowing. It stops all that sort of thing. So apologies with and asking permission to vote online.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Councillor Hannah Wood.
Yes, Chair. We all know what happened 4 years ago, and obviously we were allowed our meetings, and I believe Colin did do their Zoom meetings like Nelson did, and there was votes taken. So if we do allow this, and I'm in favour of this, but not again, not the proxy vote, because I don't think, as Councillor Butterworth has alluded to before, it can be abused. Yeah. But, and I know that I'm sorry, but I'm going to put a bit more hard work onto our deputy clerk. He could have, if we are to accept this, he could have his computer there in front of him, and anyone who is or who can't attend for whatever reason and ask for a remote attendance and access to vote, the deputy clerk could have the question could be asked by yourself, Chair, and the deputy clerk would then look at his screen, and if, for argument's sake, I can't get in, but I've asked for a remote access and remote voting, and there's something that I want to vote on, I can, when you say all those in favour, I just put my hand up on screen, and the deputy clerk can say Councillor Hannah Wood has voted in favour, or Councillor Howard has voted against. That is the only way we could do that. But I think this is the way forward. It was, I know it was rushed during COVID, but done properly, it could be a good tool, and it would mean that we're missing 4 people tonight, or we know that one of them is actually in another meeting. The other 3 people, if they had the tools and we had the technology in place now, could actually be here in the meeting with us, although wherever they are at the moment.
Yeah.
I'm in favour.
2 of them are quite ill, so I don't think they'd be coming and doing that. But I can't imagine anyone not wanting to come here and sit with us nice people and have a lovely meeting. Yes, Councillor Wildman.
I think the councillors on Colne Town Council are responsible people, and I can't see any circumstances where they would stay at home and not act responsibly.
Thank you. Thank you.
Can I ask, do you want me to respond collectively as Colne Town Council, or do you each want to respond individually if you want to do that?
No. Councillor Moffat.
I don't like the idea of proxy votes, but I think this interaction, it's a tool. I think it's a tool that should be kept in case it's really needed.
Yeah.
I can't quite see how the mechanics work. If, say, a third of the councillors don't attend and they're doing it remotely, well, how's that going to work? To join in with the conversation?
I understand what you mean. If just people decided to stay at home because there was a choice, but I don't think we're saying that. I think we're saying it's got to be for a reason, a proper reason. Either he's ill, or you're looking after a grandchild and you can't leave it.
I understand that, but I'm just saying there's a third of the people are sat at home doing it remotely. How does that work in here? I mean, how can they sort of interact the same?
Well, they can't.
But then,
Yeah.
So they would interact through Zoom. So if, say, Neil was at home, it would appear on the screen. Yeah, so you'd have little heads popping up, and then as the admin, we can mute and unmute councillors, so that if then councillors want to.
We had that with the Zoom meeting. Yeah, and it were a bit hit and miss because everybody sort of got to speak at once, and then they'd all stop. And it's
That's why they would put the hand up, and then
yeah.
I could unmute them, and then once they'd finished, mute them again, and then if they want to speak again, they'd have to put their hand back up.
I think Councillor Robinson was talking about people being disenfranchised if they didn't have a laptop and they didn't have a smartphone, then they wouldn't be able to participate. I think that's what you were saying, wasn't it?
No, but they would just come in person then, wouldn't
Well, they'd have to come in person, yeah. Okay, is that Councillor Mann?
That doesn't seem that fair if they haven't got the facilities that they have to come here. Surely if we are putting this forward, we as a town council should provide these things so that those who haven't or can't afford to buy them themselves should have the same rights as those who can. That's just my sort of immediate thought about it being a little unfair. Would we be able to see the people at home? It wouldn't be that you could just put the video off and go and do your own thing and then vote when we would have to see nobody, so that would be a criteria for me. Yeah.
Well, we can perhaps speak about the other thing with Councillor
I
Robinson.
personally think that we should put this in individually, but that's just.
I think we should respond as a council, and if anyone feels they want to respond personally, they can do that as well if they want. And
well, the majority here seems to
as regards being able to see the people at home, there is no reason why Nathan couldn't alter what's on our screen here, and if there were people on LinkedIn from home, just like we did on Zoom, they could be up on that big screen there, can't they? Yes.
So is the consensus that it's okay to do in certain circumstances when it's when they can't get here?
I think it's fair to say that we don't really agree with proxy voting.
No.
From what I've heard. So, but we welcome remote in certain circumstances.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Exception rather than the rule. So the main rule is come if you can. Yeah.
It's on the now thing. I've just been trying to find it. I mean, never find it when you want. There was something in the draft legislation or suggestion that the meeting would have to, the physical meeting had to be a certain percentage, and I can't remember what that percentage was. But guessing, I would have thought that 4 missing is probably about the limit that they'd want. I can't work that out in my head.
But you can't be here if you're at another meeting anyway, so that wouldn't be, they won't be watching, would they? No. And are we done with that item then? Yeah. I'll talk to Ian separately. Item 13 is Treasure Our Town. I think that's just that we had the last one. Is it the last one?
It was the last one of this year.
Yeah,
We'll start again in April.
yeah. And it was as we collected as much as we
There
had
was
ever.
there was a huge amount of rubbish. Yeah, we could have spent all day.
Yeah, good.
Yeah.
Item 14, the Great British Rhythm and Blues. I've seen that they said all the tickets, the early bird tickets have been sold.
Yeah, so the tickets for the 2025 festival went on sale at the beginning of November, and the early bird full festival tickets have now sold out. We've introduced a new ticketing structure so that those that want to see a band that's only playing in the afternoon, they can buy an afternoon ticket, and those that want to see a band that's playing in an evening, they can buy an evening ticket, but then we've still got your full day ticket at a reduced rate as well, to obviously benefit buying a ticket for the full day. We're hoping that it's going to help increase ticket sales, because we've had quite a lot of queries over the past couple of years of people saying, well, I only want to see this band and that band. Whereas now with the new ticketing structure, it may allow them to buy a ticket, see the bands they want to see in the afternoon or the evening, and obviously they'll go away happy. Colne Blues Society are on with booking the main stage acts, and they've also now approached all the fringe venues, so they can start programming the fringe lineup ready for the festival. The main stages have been booked, so we've got the Pendle Hippodrome and the Exchange Project. We're just waiting to hear back from the Little Theatre as well. And the 2024 festival is also been named as a finalist for the Lancashire Tourism Awards, which we've had the interview with the team at Marketing Lancashire, and we'll find out in February how we've done. That's pretty much it for the update for the festival, really.
I thought they weren't going to be using the Exchange Project because it's a funny. You can't have any beer there, or it's not got a really good atmosphere.
We had a discussion with Colne Blues Society about what they want to do, and obviously with the current higher cost of the Muni.
What about the little bit? Is it Albert Room? Could they not just have that?
They are having discussions at the moment,
Right,
but
okay.
what's been confirmed so far is obviously the Hippodrome and the Exchange Project. And if we get any more main stages, we can obviously let everybody know.
Okay, I mean it's not they've got there's a Colne Blues Society in this year that are they're not pulling the punches,
Says this items for information only.
Yeah.
Can I just ask on some information? What is a full festival bundle, which there appear to be 50 at the same price as full festival?
So your standard full festival is priced at 120, or you've got your full festival bundle, which is actually priced at 140, but 120 pound of that is your ticket, and the bundle just includes your 2025 merchandise. So it's just to hopefully increase merchandise sales prior to the festival.
Perhaps we ought to have a little asterisk saying what the difference is.
That's fine. I'll do that.
Because otherwise it looks as if they're getting a raw deal.
Yeah. I know it says for information only, but has anybody spoken to? Because it's a new person, isn't it?
You can read my mind. I was just going to say, why don't we have a chat with the new chief exec of Pendle Leisure Trust and find out the lay of the land and ask them if they want to get involved.
Like I said, there is a meeting happening next week.
Well, right. Item 15 is Pendle Local Plan 4th edition.
I'm the chairman of the Climate Emergency Working Group on Pendle Council, and we had a lot of toings and froings over this local plan. So I got to the point where actually I knew bits of it by heart. Would you like me to draft something? I actually have a free day tomorrow. I was just going to clean out the hens. I could draft something. I don't think it needs to be very detailed. We need to make sure that we are supporting the housing allocations in Colne or not in Colne, as the case may be. our housing allocations, and the fact that they are supporting us in the local green spaces. Had a little chat with Brian beforehand, and David knows about this. There was a problematic flow chart. You perhaps remember this, Gina. When we went to Regulation 14 with our local green spaces, this flow chart provided extra steps on top of paragraph 102 of the NPPF. And Michael Wellock gave us the advice at the time and said this really should be thrown out by the planning inspector, because it takes paragraph 102 and it adds a whole series of extra barriers. So I haven't seen the latest flow chart. Brian's seen it, but he feels it adds an extra barrier. I can dig out what Michael Wellock said before, which is you shouldn't be, paragraph 102 is deliberately vague. For those of you that don't know what it says, it doesn't specify things, and it doesn't specify things on purpose. So it just says it mustn't be a vast tract of land. It says, it must be reasonably close, in close proximity to the community it serves. It must be demonstrably special. These things are quite vague. And, we argued when it was our neighbourhood plan that we're quite a big town, or certainly from a neighbourhood planning perspective, and therefore what is a vast tract of land for Colne is not the same as a vast tract of land for Lancashire Bridge, because they're different orders of settlements, and that was accepted. So if you like, I'll try to draft something, and then Gina could share it with everyone. Does that help?
Yeah.
Thank you.
Everybody in favour of that? Yeah. Brian?
Might as well have my tuppence worth. I looked at the local plan, the document itself today, and I looked at the cover. On the very first page, it says www.pendle.gov.com, UK. But they've missed the dot out after www. That's on the cover page. I'm happy to see that the Rough and Lenchers Fields has been nominated as local green space in the PLP4. I tried maybe 6 months ago. I went to a meeting at Nelson and nominated Dewhurst Community Space as a local green space. Fortunately, it's not been included. There's nothing there. But as Sarah's mentioned, they've tampered with the flow chart. Appendix 7 it is. The flow chart and the criteria, getting a local green space accepted now once it's been nominated. Even when I went to the meeting at Nelson 6 months ago to nominate the Dewhurst Street, the officer or the assessor had been round all the green spaces that had been nominated, and it seemed that he had raised the bar in getting these spaces accepted, and he put in a little box, a tick box, what sort of protection they were already offered. Now it's come up with this again this time in the flow chart, and it says, has it already got protection? And most of them had, because he'd given some sort of protection, out in the boundary, I don't know what it is, countryside boundary where it affords planning, some sort of consent, like a nature reserve, and he had something for everything to cover it off.
Yeah.
So now in the flow chart, that option is there in his flow chart. Has it already afforded protection? And it'll say yes. So it goes no local green space, So it looks like it's not working for the residents of this town or any other town in Pendle.
Thank you. Sarah?
If I could come back, if you look at the other towns in Pendle and their local green spaces, the ones that don't have designated local green spaces in neighbourhood plans, you'll see that there is an extreme paucity. Colne is an outlier because we have 21 examined local green spaces in our neighbourhood plan, and they're all going forward. In addition, they're examined, you see, so they can't be argued with by Pendle Council. In addition, there is the potential for 2 more, though it has to be noted that the evidence base for the Lenches comes to the conclusion that it shouldn't be a local green space, and the inspector will be looking at that. I don't know what's going to happen, we don't know. But Colne is only an outlier on the local green spaces because of the neighbourhood planning tool that we seized. And it allowed us to have things that we absolutely know Pendle Council don't view as local green spaces. And we know this because at Regulation 14, they rejected nearly all of them, didn't they? And that caused us to beef up our evidence base. And the planning examiner agreed with us. So, okay, we've got, I would like to see Briarcliff Avenue in. There were various things that I'd like to see in that aren't in. But I think that we have to at least feel grateful for the 21 that are in and be grateful for that, while still knowing that we're going to have another neighbourhood plan iteration and we'll have another go at trying to get a couple more in.
Okay, any other questions? No? Okay. Right, we'll go on to item 16, which is planning. The first one is 24/0721/HHO, and it's West Lane, Barrowford Road, Colne. It's the erection of a canopy to the annex. It's growing like topsy.
It has to be said, this can't be read as a coach house anymore. Having said that, I don't think there's anything we can say. It's just a bit sad.
They do. Started off with a little bit there, but a bit more. It'll be an Airbnb before you're finished. Yeah, it did, yes, yeah. Right, so we don't say anything. No comment. Item 2 is 24. Oh, it is, yeah, Vernon Road, yeah. The next one is 22 stroke. Oh, that's an appeal information only. We don't have to discuss that, do we? Right, we'll move on to number 4, 24/0760/FUL. It's Unit 3, Regent House, Regent Street, Colne. It's for some EV installation of 3 EV chargers. Any comments? That's it. We think
it's the building that it's not opposite Corporation Street. I can't remember it's on the corner that goes into that little group of factories there. There is a plan that shows that there's, I've forgotten how many spaces it is. Oh,
3.
6. Yeah, six bays, and with a double thing in between it. And it seems fine. I mean, it looks industrial, but then it's an industrial estate, so
okay.
I can't see that there's a problem with it. I think I mean, it should be welcomed in the fact that it's put in charging point.
Are we okay with that then? Yeah.
So do you want to welcome it or no comment?
We could put that.
But do you think we should welcome it?
I think we should welcome it, that it's put in.
Did you get it? Right, the next one has already been decided. So the last one is 24/0791/HHO. It's 42 Stanroy Drive, Cole. It's demolition of existing single-storey garage and erection of a single-storey rear and side extension.
Environmental Health has put a comment in asking for a condition putting on it about the hours still working on it for doing the build.
Is there anything else we want to say about it? Are there others down there that have got similar extensions?
It's fairly straightforward. It doesn't look to be that big a property.
Well, if it isn't big, it'll make it look big. I don't know. What we say? Nothing?
Right.
No comment?
There's such a mishmash of designs down there. You probably wouldn't know.
What number is it again? It's 42. I don't know. Which is it the top end? Yeah. It's the ones that are built above that, isn't it? The ones up the drive. I thought, are you sure it's on the bottom side? Oh, right. Okay. Right. If we carry on, that we've got item 17, correspondence received. And we've got some correspondence from Councillor Coburn Price. It's about a Star Council awards.
I'm blaming Gina for this one because obviously last month she sent us, and in fact so did David, sent us to the NALC website, which is really interesting. And in fact,
It's a new one, isn't it?
I've submitted another suggestion for next month as a result of going there. You should. Oh, really? Is it already here? So I just feel that I think we're a good council. We can't apply currently for anything other than bronze. I suppose it's a bit like, I don't know, I'm quite old, but they used to have gymnastics awards at school and you could apply bronze, silver and gold and everything. And I think that we should have that accreditation. We're one of the biggest town councils in the north, and we should be able to show people that we are what the people of Colne pay the peace for. Actually, if you look at the criteria though, it's a bit admin heavy, isn't it? It certainly is documentation all the way.
Yeah.
It does actually say though, even in the bronze one, that you do have to have a qualified clerk. No, I think it's the bronze one as well, from what I could see. Is it not? No. I thought it had said. I don't know what page it was. Ah, yeah. Ah, yeah, it does.
Oh, yes, it does. It's a very it's a tabletop exercise, isn't it? Just got, you've just got lots of policies and lots of paperwork. They'd be better coming having a look what actually you do and what you.
But obviously, if it's something that we want to aspire to, then obviously we can be putting all the admin bits in place. So then, obviously, when I do get qualified, then we'll be able to go for the silver. But you can actually just go straight for. But but if you do think that it's something that you want to look at, then obviously we can start putting things in place. Because it is very admin heavy, and there's probably quite a lot that we need to change or to develop going forward.
It was really only that we have this as an aspiration, and just I was hoping. I'm looking at the faces across the room, and they're not sharing it. But I just feel, you know, it's a thing we could put on our website. It gives us a certain stature and status. I'm not suggesting that we do it in 5 minutes, but as an aspiration, I think we could consider this.
I don't see why we don't engage with it, look into it on the, as Councillor Sarah has just said, look with it on Pride and go for it, because we are we are one of the better town councils in the northwest, and I think we're the best one in the north, the East Lancashire area. So that's good praise. I think we deserve to award ourselves with at least a bronze, if not the silver. But go for gold, girls.
Well, I sort of suggest that we keep that we can get the admin stuff. We can, you know, get a pack ready and see how we go from there. If it becomes too labour intensive, we'd have to sort of put it off a bit and say it's not important. It's, you know, getting the accounts done is more important than doing this. But it's an add-on that if we can.
Not forgetting, Chair, from January on we'll be a person down. I was going to say a man down, but it's a person down.
Yeah. But I'm guessing everything that's in the criteria is best practice anyway, so it probably is something that we should be aspiring to do anyway.
Quick look at the website. They do 3 tranches during the year, so they do one in January, one in May, I think it was, and one in September, I think.
Yeah, we could push it up to September, couldn't we, or something? Yeah.
Try and go for September. Right, should be in a position to have a good quality. In the meantime, Gina could be seeing what we don't actually have in place now that we need to have in place. I sorted some of the things out. One of the things I think, having read it, that we would fall flat on the stage if we're not careful because of the amount of councillor training we have done or not, whichever way you want to look at it. I think we'll be, I could fall flat on the space that I don't think we've done enough, if any. And I think we would have to do something with that.
Okay. Yeah.
You know, perhaps we give ourselves a year. I'm not suggesting we make a tight deadline, but I would love it if we had it as an aspiration.
Yeah, and I mean, now seem to have got their act together, haven't they? More than they did before. They got a new website, and they seem to have more of an idea what they're doing.
I think SLCC have got one as well.
If we did do an online, there's no reason why 6 or 7 people want to come and sit in here and
watch it
here. So we could all do it. Yeah. But now we'll offer them the training online.
Yeah.
And when you split it between number of us, it's not that expensive for a training, is it?
Not usually. As members, you get discounted price anyway. So.
Yeah, well, you'll have to have a look and see where we have the holes. We think we know everything, but we have to have a piece of paper that tells us that we.
On that new website, you will know everything.
Yeah. So that's what we'll do. We'll go for it, but we haven't any deadline or anything. We'll just see how we go, and we'll look at what training that it says that councillors should have, and try to ensure that we're doing a bit. Okay, all right.
The other thing that was mentioned was the corporate peer challenge. And I think Sarah's had some experience with this.
And so has David. And oh, well, I loved it. And it came to the people that came to Pendle Council 2 years ago now. They're from it really wasn't political. They're from all parties, and there were officers and they were councillors as well. And you get to pick, so they send you a little profile of who the people are, so that you can try and align yourselves to people who have similar experiences, or their experience would help you. And the people that came to Pendle Council, officers and actual councillors, were amazing. And they open your eyes to things like things that you'd not considered best practice, and pointing out where, you know, how things build up over time. And then people say, oh yeah, we've always done it like that. And then it takes a person from outside to go, but that doesn't make any sense though. And it's actually really, really, I thought it was incredibly helpful for Pendle Council. And had we adopted all of the recommendations of the Corporate Peer Challenge, which for reasons that I shan't go into, they decided not to, I think the council would have been better. And I didn't know at all. You sent me off to look at this NALT website. You sent us all off to look at it. And I didn't realise that town councils could do it too.
Oh.
And when I saw town councils could do it, I just thought, it could be the leg up. It could be the prequel, if you like, to us getting this bronze, silver, gold thing, because we'd be perhaps choosing people who've already done it, for example. You get the little profiles of the people and they tell you what they've already achieved and done, so you can pick them.
I mean, I think I had a look and it did say that it was for the larger town councils. They did mention a turnover of 1.5 million, which we're not quite there, but we're not far off, to be honest. So whether
Burnley Council have just done one of these stars.
But whether they would consider us, or maybe if we just wait a couple of years and then maybe we will.
I was going to say, perhaps I think a year or two back, I remember finding out that our council is the 177th largest precept in the country. So you're thinking, well, all right, the only way is up then on that one. And I think if you say we're getting closer, we've got an aspiration to get to 1.5, perhaps, maybe a peer challenge. One of the challenges to them is to say, well, what can we do to enhance our revenue growth, etc.? Are there any opportunities? We choose somebody who comes along who's maybe got experience in doing that. We're taking on assets or whatever because we want to safeguard them for the people of Colne and the town of Colne. Why don't we try to find a way to do that? And as Sarah said, the one that was done at Pendle, it's sort of, they look at a meeting and they say, is it the most efficient way of doing it? Or did you spend far too much time talking about phone boxes?
What we spent,
for example. Those kind of things. It's are you getting the best bang for your buck in terms of the amount of time that you speak on things, or the amount of priorities and sort of things you devote effort to?
At Pendle, they came to P&R, and we spent, I don't know, I'm making this up to a certain extent, but we spent, say, an hour and a half talking about a fence in Nelson or a wall in Nelson, an hour and a half talking about this. And then there were all these weighty documents to do with the actual running of the council, like money and important things. And because everybody was tired and we'd spent an hour and a half on Nelson,
Noted.
they just noted them all. And they were just like, the Corporate Peer Challenge people were like, this was the meat of the meeting. And they were right. And it's that kind of stuff.
Yeah,
it's really important.
It was Essex, was it Bracknell, Lincolnshire? I forget the people that. Yeah. Right. So, how do we pursue this Start Council Award thing? No, that's not it, is it? That's not Corporate Peer Challenge. Yeah.
Now they've come together, I now wonder whether we ought to do the Corporate Peer Challenge first, because that might boost us to get to the next stage. Oh, really? Oh, okay.
Gina could ask what the waiting list is, but I believe it's a long while.
Oh, okay. Well, that would be interesting in itself, wouldn't it?
We could do an expression of interest. can't we?
Yeah.
Yeah. Can we find out how long the waiting list is? Yeah. Just ask for more information and time scale. Well,
But by that time, we'll probably.
yeah.
They're not in a position where there is a living requirement for them to have these. Yeah, they're struggling going around with these things.
Yeah. Because, and they say Burnley's only got this one. I think when they changed the administration, or there might have been one in the parkland, but it was August, September. It was, yeah. But I mean, they were in Burnley, not long ago.
Well, I think the two things they kind of go hand in hand, don't they? They probably work together. So.
Well, if we ask about the peer challenges as well.
Say we're interested.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
If you do that, you could end up with someone from here, a councillor, and Gina having to go and do someone else's.
Yeah.
That's how it works. Yeah.
Yeah. Maybe a bit after we've all gone. I don't know when seats are up here. I don't know. Year or two. I don't know. Anyway, items for further month's agenda. Item 18. Has anybody got any items they want? That's on Tuesday, the 17th of December at 7 o'clock. But shall hope to see you all here, bright-eyed and bushy-tailed.
I would like to give my apologies now.